CERT and the BP MS150, making a difference. The BP MS150 is one of the largest charity events in the state of Texas and the U.S. This is an annual 2-day bike ride from Houston to Austin with 13,000 participants. Last year's riders raised $16 million for multiple sclerosis research and treatment. This is a map of the ride that covers a 150-mile route from Houston to the state capitol in Austin, Texas. Starting from one of 3 start locations near Houston, riders pedal their way to the town of LaGrange, Texas, where they overnight at the county fairground. The next day, they start again at dawn and complete the event in front of the state capitol building in Austin. Along this bike route, you see a number of black rectangular boxes with the designation BP on each. These are the locations of the all-important breakpoints, which we will be discussing shortly. In order to have a successful ride, approximately 3,000 volunteers are needed to support this event. 17 rest stops or breakpoints must be established and operated along the ride route. Also, a fleet of support vehicles called SAGs operate between the breakpoints to assist with mechanical and physical breakdowns. So, just what is a breakpoint? A breakpoint is a temporary support facility providing food, drink, portalettes, mechanical and medical support to the event participants. Here is a photo of one of our breakpoints from the air. These breakpoints can be quite large, and at the height of its operation can have populations larger than most small towns in Texas. Breakpoints are planned and laid out carefully beforehand to efficiently handle the thousands of riders that will be stopping there along the route. This example is from our Saturday Breakpoint 7 outside LaGrange, Texas. Information for each breakpoint like this can be found online at bolmansky.com, noted above, prior to the event. This is a ground level view of Breakpoint 7, showing the many of its key elements. To the left, we see the supply truck, the orange tents serving food and drink, and a red tent serving as a first aid station. In the right photo, we see the bike mechanics tents in the background and an immense laydown area for the participants' cycle. So, what type of volunteers does it take to run a breakpoint? Well, it takes local law enforcement officers, it takes breakpoint entrance controllers, or CERTs, it takes breakpoint sponsors who distribute food and drink, bike mechanics and supply tents, medical personnel and EMS, ham radio communications operators, SAG stop personnel, supply truck personnel, recycle volunteers, and a breakpoint manager. Here are some of our volunteers in action. The volunteer we are going to talk about next is the one in the middle, and that is the CERT volunteer. CERT has 2 roles in the breakpoints. The first is that of the breakpoint manager. These folks are selected from the past CERT volunteers based on prior experience and abilities. The second and most important are the breakpoint entrance controllers, or BPECs for short. The MS150 organizers prefer CERT-trained volunteers for this position for safety reasons. Breakpoint entrance controllers have been an integral part of the breakpoint volunteers for the past 6 years. Their duties include preparing the necessary bike traffic flow mechanisms for the breakpoint, controlling the flow of riders into and out of the breakpoint, provides directions and information to riders entering or exiting the break site, and most importantly, keep an eye out for riders who may be in medical stress. Here is an example of our BPEC team setting up traffic flow barriers at Sunday's Breakpoint 5 outside of Austin, Texas. Notice how the orange cones and yellow tape are used to direct riders safely off the main road and into the breakpoint. Other BPEC team members are seen here preparing the appropriate signs to guide riders through the breakpoint. or to the proper place to lay down their bikes. As the old biking adage goes, a rider will lose 1 percentage point of IQ for every mile that they pedal. It is up to the friendly and compassionate BPEC volunteer to see that these folks are safely led into and out of the breakpoints and make their efforts as rewarding as possible. Here is Sunday Breakpoint 5 outside of Austin in full swing and at full capacity. Remember, each of these colorfully dressed riders has put forth a tremendous effort to ride the 150 miles from Houston to Austin and raise nearly $16 million annually for multiple sclerosis. It is our privilege and duty to help them attain their goals and complete this great event safely. The weekend in a nutshell. If you volunteered for a 1 or 2 day event, your weekend will look something like this. For 1 day commitments on Saturday from Houston or Sunday from Austin, CERT team members are asked to drive their own vehicle to their assigned breakpoint locations due to the proximity of the breakpoints and for logistical reasons. After driving to the breakpoints, CERTs will meet with their other team members and prepare the site for the arrival of the riders. They will then perform the duties of the BPEC as described earlier. After the last rider and turtle has passed, they will tear down the breakpoints and drive back home. Those that volunteer for a full 2 day event will assemble at the Park and Ride at Highway 6 and I-10 at 5:30 a.m. and load their personal and team gear into their team vans. They will then drive to their assigned breakpoints and prepare the site for the arrival of the riders. During the event, they will perform the duties of the BPEC, which were described earlier. After the last rider and turtle has passed, they will tear down the breakpoint and then drive to the town of LaGrange, Texas. In LaGrange, they will be treated to a barbecue dinner at the Knights of Columbus Hall with other CERT and Aries volunteers. After dinner, the team will then drive to their overnight facilities at Camp Pine Cove. This is a top-notch cabin-based facility nestled in the picturesque Central Texas ranch country. On Sunday, teams will leave the overnight facilities at 5:30 a.m. and drive back to the Knights of Columbus Hall in LaGrange for breakfast. After breakfast, they will then drive to their assigned breakpoints and prepare the site for the arrival of the riders. They will again perform the duties of the BPEC. And again, after the last rider and turtle has passed, you will tear down the breakpoints and drive back to your home city. Finally, you will return to the Park and Ride and head for home after a job well done. This weekend will promise to be one of the most exhausting, exciting, and rewarding experiences a volunteer can legally have. We all have our reasons for participating in this event. Mine is to help the pedaling pixies and the other 12,995 riders make a difference in a race to cure multiple sclerosis. What's yours?